Welcome to the Finding Union podcast. This is a co-creation of divine guidance, ineffable intelligence, and the human identities of the bringers of change to activate a remembering within humanity with the information shared. The topics and the words spoken in these episodes will allow for the activation within each individual to create a deeper connection with others, self, and ultimately Creator. Bringing new perspectives, this podcast will trigger a greater understanding to what the human experience's purpose is. As you continue to listen to these conversations, you will be activated into purging the falsities of your mind, allowing your identity to dissolve, bringing more authenticity into your daily life. Here you will receive universal downloads, consciousness, and a place of remembering the true love of unconditional source connection. Thank you from all spaces throughout the universe for allowing yourself to connect deeply with the information being shared. Here is your host, conduit of universal truth, Danielle Butler. Welcoming Seraph Knight, who is a healer of the collective and people, and he's a beautiful friend of mine and has come into my experience through some commonalities. Welcome, Seraph, to the Finding Union podcast.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm truly grateful to be here today with you. It's a blessing, and I'm grateful that you graced me with your presence in my life as well. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm actually really excited to have this conversation with you to unpack more of your story and how you got into the work that you have and the sharings that you have, because I follow you on social media, and I know that you bring through a lot of information from the multidimensional realms and from the Galactic Federation. And so my first question would be, how did you find yourself being a conduit or a vessel for healing? What led you to this?
That started 7 years ago, actually. And when I was graced with the presence of an earth angel that came to my door, and we were together for 4 years, okay? And I was shedding a lot of programs, and I didn't realize I had this ability until I started to shed more of the beliefs and the patterns and the programs and finding my true power within me, right? And it was a pretty powerful time, to be honest with you. And when we parted ways, right, then I started to tap more into myself even more so and truly believe in myself to the degree that I started to get messages through from the angelic realm, and it just sort of flowed through. I'd be sitting there at night and it'd take me maybe half an hour to an hour to pump out a channeled message, right? The light language didn't come until over the last probably 12 months, and I kind of played with it a little bit, but it's becoming more, I'm tapping more into it over the last few months myself personally, as I experienced more of that and trust within myself. So the journey started 7 years ago when this earth angel came to my door, and we were together for 4 years, and I shared a lot of stuff. So that's how I got into this. I've always wanted to do the healing work way before that, but I really got more into it over the last 7 years.
It's so beautiful, because I feel like there are certain people that are brought into our journey as an activation of remembrance. There's a junction point where someone whether there's an agreement beforehand of like, I'm going to show up at this time and I'm going to activate that thing within you, and we're going to journey this, and the unfoldings take place. I know in my own experience, I've had these certain amazing, miraculous connections that have taught me to layer away the conditioning. And what I've found really interesting is what you're sharing about the more that you took the beliefs away and the limitations and the trauma and whatever conditioning was there, the gifts just naturally come through. They start to just evolve. Is that how you experienced it? Did it, like, how did these gifts become apparent for you? You didn't actually go and say, I'm going to become a channel and sit there and like do that? Or how
They
was that for you?
evolved over time, Danielle. They evolved over time. It wasn't something that just sort of like happened like that. And as I said, it's a process of shedding the layers and trusting and believing in yourself. Because if you don't have that belief that you can do this and that you're connected to the higher realms and such, then it's really quite a struggle for anybody. So for me, it's just it's been a process of it's evolved over the last 7 years, right? And believe me when I say to you, I had to shed a whole pile of stuff, programs and conditioning, and you'll never be this, and you never, how can you do that, right? I've had to battle many people who have challenged me on social media, on Facebook, especially people I've channeled at times, right? And especially in groups, you know, I've had a couple, but now I've reached a point where people don't come near me if they've got a negative comment, simply because they know it's like, okay, this guy doesn't care what we say, so why are we even wasting our time? We'll find somebody else, because I really don't care what others think. Thinking is the problem. But it's evolved over time, Danielle, and it's not something that just drops in. I mean, it can drop into people sometimes straight away, and that's great. And for other people like myself, it takes a process. And I've just discovered that more and more as I've trusted myself and believed in myself that I could do this, right? And that's where there are a lot of people out there who can do this. Everybody, you know, they can do this if they trust in themselves and they believe in themselves and know that they're worthy of the highest level of channeling from the highest realms of love and light. That it was a process. It took me time till I got there. And I'm still working, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, still experiencing, you know, it's a process for everybody.
Yeah, and I love that you share that it definitely is individually based too, of like some people will go over this process over a shorter period, some people will just all of a sudden be unlocked and be able to tap into certain gifts and elements, and also that we all have this capacity. We all have this capacity to connect to God consciousness and to bring through information. It's only the limitation of the mind that has created a story that we don't, or that there's even special people, or that I know one of the stories I've had has been, I don't see, I feel, right? Which I know is a limitation. And at the moment, one of the current things I'm working on is how much of this belief and this limiting story and program has prevented my gift of vision to come through. The more that I've allowed myself clear sight and it actually has, for me, the belief a lot is around not wanting to see past the illusion. So that is one of the core sort of things, is like not wanting to see truth, because sometimes truth is really uncomfortable. And so the uncomfortableness has kept me in blindness. And I feel like it's really important for everyone to look at, like, what are some of those stories and how they affect us on the multi-dimensional aspect of ourselves.
It's the fear too, Danielle. Sorry, I just forget. No, sorry, it's the fear of the mind of not understanding what we can truly be within the power of what we can be, right? And like, I mean, for me, I see colors, I see auras, and I see things. I've seen things in the last 7 years that blow your mind. It's trippy. And like sometimes you see people walking past you out of the corner of your eye, you'll see orbs or colors or something, right? Even when I'm walking along out in nature, you know, I see colors of pink or blue or orb colors or whatever the case. So it's like, now I'm just getting used to it more. Like one day I'll probably see an angelic being stand right in front of me energetically, and it's like, oh, there you are. Okay. It's like, but it's the mind. It trips you up. Okay, and when people get past the fear of, hell, I can do this shit, you know, then it'll start to flow through. And God only gives you what you can handle at any given moment. You'll never ever get overwhelmed, because sometimes it can trip you up and it can freak you out. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And they think they're crazy, but they're not. They're actually tapping into the multidimensionality, like you said. It's easy done once when you work through the fear programs.
Yeah, 100%. And what do you do in your own journey or with people that you work with to help move through the programs of fear?
My main thing on social media is writing blogs.
Mm-hmm.
I blog about my experiences. I blog about what I've gone through with my childhood, my fears. My healing journey is through live videos, like I did with you just the other week as well. Okay, interviewing people and sharing wisdom and knowledge of the embodiment of the experiences I've gone through. So I do sound healing as well. I've got 2 medicine drums here at home as well, Native American medicine drums, deer hide and kangaroo hide. I do use crystals at times, but sound healing and the light language and the blogging is the biggest part for me at the moment. I am going to be getting into public speaking very soon, and that'll be a part of that, of my journey with that too.
When you think about sound and vibration and how that works for healing, is this the way that you see and receive the world now that you're starting to let go of the mind's distortion, that in an energetic viewpoint of everything can shift through shifting the vibration?
Yeah, I do. I want to go into this a little bit, because ultimately what I've learned over the years is sound and vibration is everything in the universe. Okay, so because we're energetic beings here and we vibrate, everything shifts, everything changes all the time. So always creating from our mind or our heart or whatever the case. So when you look at the world from the outside, what is it you're seeing with your eyes? Are you seeing a distorted world, or are you seeing that through the lens of a higher power, a higher level, whatever the case, from a higher vibration? Okay, so when you look at the world from a mind's perspective, you'll be looking there thinking, oh, hang on, this isn't the world I want to live in. How can I change this? You're not actually changing the world, you're changing your vibration, which has a ripple effect. Now, because everybody has free will here, not everybody's going to pick up on that. But when I say, when you can walk past people in the street and you're still transmitting energetic fragments or DNA signatures to them regardless. They may not pick up on it for a month, they may pick up on it straight away. It doesn't matter, because energy is always constantly flowing. So when I walk out into the world, okay, I view the world as a picturesque world of beauty and beautiful, harmonious people. I may not get that all the time, and that's okay, right? But for the most part, I encounter a lot of loving people because I'm putting out that loving energy. And what I see around me is different to what I saw 6 years ago. So it's all energy and vibration. So it's what you're creating for your mind. You can't interfere in people's free will, but you can attract those to you with an open heart.
Yeah,
I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, it was perfect. It's really beautiful, because how I perceive that is exactly the way of we see the world, the way that we are within. And so that from a mind point is the beliefs that we hold in the mind create an energetic frequency and vibration. And so if we are believing that we're living in a beautiful world and we have a beautiful world within, then that's what's created in our experience. For the most part, like you said, we are still in a human experience and we're still evolving, and there's going to be times where certain things are going to pop up to show you, literally just to show you the distortion that you have within your ego, to go, oh, is this something that still works for me? And what is this? And can I just let it go and shift it and transmute it and come from a higher dimensional space? Which makes me, the way that you're communicating, I really align with. And there's something that has come up in that I would love your input on, that's been something I've journeyed around actually letting go of collective consciousness and humanity. And the messages I have received personally have been to release the collective consciousness and the human thought and only come from higher consciousness and the higher realms. And in that place, then you have the oneness experience where you can truly experience this physical space in the way it was intended. Now, people don't always align and agree with that, which is fine, but they tend to be saying, well, you're denying your humanity, you're not giving your humanness the attention or love or whatever it desires, and there's spiritual bypassing. Now, I don't see it that way. I see it as I am human, but I'm multidimensional, and my human identity is actually the thing that causes pain and suffering in my world. So if I can bring my multidimensional consciousness into my physical form, then I'm going to have the experience that God intended. I would love to hear what you think about all of that.
That is really, wow. Okay, that excites me. Danielle, because what you just said was absolutely phenomenally powerful from that perspective, right? And I want to touch on the fact, number one, not everybody's going to agree with you. And that's perfect, because that's their perception, their perspective of how they view it. And that's okay. We're not here to judge anyone else's journey of how they see it. But I agree with what you're saying. From my perspective, it's letting go of the human collective energy, and it's about sitting in our unique, and I can't stress this enough, our unique energy signature of ourself. Because when we interact with humanity and being empaths, we feel the collective. We feel everybody's emotions, because we're getting so tapped into the world of everybody. It's like, oh my God, and you can get overwhelmed. I know I have in months gone by. Okay, when I started to master this more, I found it easier. I mean, God only knows where I go at night time when I'm asleep, probably traveling through astral realms of goodness knows what, right? But it's like when you wake up in the morning, it's important to remember to just shed everybody else's emotions and not take it on, and sit from that multidimensionality from a higher perspective. It's not that you're not abandoning your humanity, you're not discarding them, you're actually shining a brighter light for them to help them to see what they can be and transmute what they can't, right? Well, how long it takes, whether it be a month, like I said, or a week, or 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. But it's not that you're disregarding, let me just find the words. It's not that you're disregarding or abandoning humanity. You're sitting in your unique energy signature that you were given by God. And by shedding everybody else's stuff, the emotions and whatever else, you're in a much better place to assist humanity as a whole. Because then you're not carrying around all of their baggage, for lack of a better word, okay? So when you say that, I agree with that. It's about sitting in your unique energy signature for yourself and being a beacon of light for all. You're not abandoning humanity at all when you do that. You're being more of a service than what you could ever be.
And it's this limiting thought about that, right? Where it's actually the true essence of that higher mind is you get to fully embrace your humanity. Because when you come from a higher mind to those emotions that start to flow and come through, you don't attach to the stories, you don't attach to the pain, you can just be in the experiencing of grief, right? Grief something that I've found amazing to allow myself to lean into grief and take away all the stories is grief can be very pleasurable. It's actually quite pleasurable on the energy systems, and as the frequencies and the vibration shifts within, and the DMT and the pineal gland all start to activate, and you can like go into this level of like looseness within your body after feeling grief. And that, you know, when you let go of tension, that's pleasurable. To feel loose, to feel like flexible, to be able to move more, that whole process we have judged. But when you take away the judgment and come from a higher consciousness, you're able to just be in it and be like, wow, this is not what I believed it to be. And I mean, my own thoughts are the reason that we're programmed not to go into those is because when we do, we're shifting densities, and then we're coming into a higher frequency.
Absolutely. And this is the thing I want, you know, whoever watches, I want people to understand that the biggest program we have, and you said this before, is we fight the emotions. No, I don't want to feel like this. Or we're programmed to say, or people program us as children to say, don't feel that way. You know, stop crying, stop doing this, stop doing that, you know, be a good boy or girl or whatever the case. So, yeah, from that perspective, like you said, lean into it, embrace it, feel it, feel the beauty of it, allow it to be, because that's been my greatest gift in these years of transformation for myself. I leaned into it. Did I fight it at times? Hell yeah, I freaking did. Absolutely. I didn't want to feel it. No way. It's like, no. The deeper I went, the more the onion I peeled. It's like, oh man, this is getting too much. Holy crap. It's just like, but also it's important for people to remember it's not a race. Okay, this is a process. And a lot of people treat it as a race as well. I have to get through this. I have to do this. I have to do that. It's got to be done, right? No, take your time with it. One step at a time, one process at a time, one emotion at a time, 2 or 3, it doesn't matter. But lean into it, embrace it, and love it for all that it is, because that's part of the human experience here. And I love that. And the way, and I'm like, I've been a long process for me in the last few years. It's been challenging for me as I kept leaning into it. And I kept seeing deeper levels of like, oh man, this is crazy. I thought I got through this. It's like, no, you got a little bit more to go through. It's like, okay. So, and we do fight it. But when we surrender to it and allow it, it's the greatest freedom.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can really relate to that. Just, you know, for me, it's been a real focus to make sure I lean into things and don't go into distractor, and make sure that I'm coming into my heart and transmuting and being that for myself so I can be that for others. And I actually went into a place of disconnect in the last week and a half, where a situation caused me to have all this grief. And instead of feeling the grief, I like just cut off this energetic thing, like completely cut off a part of myself, and have been in, I guess, a place of denial and move through life, and just allowing myself to come back into my center and to own, okay, what is really here? Like, there's things triggering, and there's obviously something emotionally. I can feel it in my body. What is it? And I was having those thought forms of, I don't want to feel. I'm sick of feeling. I'm done feeling. Like, I don't want to do another transformational process. Like, can we just have some ease for a while? Like, and it's the mind's resistance, right? Rather than what I created the space last night to lean into this emotion and feeling, and I felt it. And it was maybe, I don't know, maybe like half an hour because of what was there to be brought up. And then I was able to express it through writing a blog post, which is very similar. I work in that way. That's my process. I feel it, and then I express my learnings in some form to be witnessed, but then to also gift my learnings to others so they can receive. And then a space has been created, a space where I'm inspired, and a space where I'm like, oh, I can feel the messages coming and the direction which I was cutting myself off from before. And I was feeling a little bit directionless and confused. And I'm like, why am I not like, why are things not in my external world? Why are they not flourishing? And I know, I've been on this journey long enough that if things aren't just unfolding with all this possibility and expansion, it's because I've cut off from receiving that in some form.
Yeah.
That's receiving myself. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Do you find in your personal...
I do. Yes. Yeah. And most of the times I find it's sitting in silence for me, whether it's driving the car, out in the garden, or I'm sitting out the back in the morning. It's like all of a sudden this epiphany will just come through. It's like, okay, that's what's going on for me. That's what I need to share. This is what I need to remove to keep moving forward. Because I found the blockages for me is why am I not moving forward? There was some sort of belief pattern or program there. And most of the time for me, it's been about the money with building the business side of it, things I want to do, like I'm doing now with my candles and like I said to you last night, the public speaking things I'm doing, right? I actually applied for that last night. I just winged it and filled out the application, sent it off. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's, and I want to say the other thing too, Danielle, before we get into that a little bit deeper, is the mind always wants to understand what's going on. Okay. The mind wants, why is this happening? Why is this happening? What's going on? Journaling is great because I did a lot of journaling over the last 5 years myself personally. And I got a lot of answers out of that too with a lot of things, okay? But my greatest gift for me has been just having the epiphanies from my higher self and saying, well, look at this, Seraph. This is what you got to work through, okay? It's like, oh, yeah, okay, right, again. Just like you said, you get tired of it and you block off. It's like you're cutting off your arm, right, on your body. You say, no, I don't want to do that. And that's okay too. I want to say to people out there, it's okay to have a reprieve at times, but eventually it's going to come back and you're going to need to look at it. But it's all right to have that reprieve too, because it can get overwhelming for us as we're working through this human experience, right? And but understanding, the mind wants to understand, because when it gets to that level, it's like, okay, I'm having a new experience. Why is this happening? Why am I doing what program am I running? Instead of fighting against it, all of a sudden wants to understand when we just allow it to be and allow it to flow through. So we purge out that, we surrender it and allow it to be. Whatever it is, it just shifts through our energetic body.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think that's where the staying in the question is important for the mind.
Yes.
The mind is not the demon. The mind is just programmed with all of the conditioning and distortions that we have in this reality. But
absolutely,
the mind wants to heal itself. The mind actually wants to be whole. So if there's triggers and there's contrast, the mind natural way of working and the way the organ is produced is to find a solution and to find an answer and to seek and search for a meaning and understanding to that. Now, because we have been programmed the way that we have, we don't often ask the question to open that understanding and that space for awareness to come through. So it's when things are showing up, asking yourself a question, or sitting in silence, or going out in nature. Or for me, one of the beautiful ways I've received lots of downloads and moments is through exercise and movement. But just taking that time to go into asking a question. What was my question last night? I asked myself, what was this connection really giving that I'm not giving myself? And when you ask yourself a question and you just wait, right? You don't have to have the answer straight away. I'm so lucky and so grateful and gifted that my energetic blueprint allows me to get answers like that. Like, so I can ask a question and get the answer straight away, but not everyone is designed that way. And that's just because I'm a clear channel for information. So I wouldn't be a very good channel if I didn't get information straight away. But so I've got, I guess, I don't know if it's an advantage in this reality, but the allowing that space just by asking the question and not having an attachment to having to have the answer, just knowing it will show up, it will happen.
Totally. I agree with that completely, because when we attach to the outcome, then we get ourselves more anxiety, more stressed out. Where's the answer? Where's the answer? Why isn't it here yet? And once again, it causes us more bloody grief, right? One of the things for me, over the time, the greatest, I've always asked the questions of my higher self or the angelic realm. Why is this happening, guys? Give me some clarity around this, please. It may not have happened straight away. It may be a day or two before I get that answer, okay? But when I get it, it's like, okay, now I understand what's going on. All right, that's cool. Let's work with that. All right, thank you. You know, and it doesn't matter how you do it. There's no right or wrong with it, Danielle. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got their own process, but in this today, that when we talk to each other, I just want people to understand that they've got to find their own way too. We're just dropping how we've done it, and it's perfect for us. And I do get the answers when I ask the universe and the angelic realm, my higher self, hey, what's going on here? Why is this happening? What's going on? Show me, please. And it'll come through. And releasing the attachment is the greatest gift, because then when it does come through, it'll come through a lot quicker, because you're not fighting it flow either.
Yeah, exactly, right. Not fighting the flow, which is important. There is no right and wrong. And I will completely say there's no right and wrong to spirituality. There's no right and wrong to anyone's journey. However, there are universal laws. And one of those universal laws is to receive, you have to make space, which is this giving, receiving, right? So as you give out in whatever form or perspective you see that, as you give your limiting belief away, you receive a space. So in any form, it's like this circulation of energy. And when you understand, it can be in any form. You can just be in a giving and a receiving conversation like we are right now. And
absolutely.
And both of us are going to go get off this call and have this space of, oh, I needed to receive that. I needed to hear that. I needed to experience that, because we open ourselves up to have the mirroring of you are me and I am you, and really no division. And what you're reflecting back to me is exactly what I need to hear for myself. Like we had a conversation yesterday, and I really was aware of how grateful you are and how much gratitude you have for life and how beautiful it is to be in the space of someone with so much gratitude and appreciation. And I had someone else in my experience in that space, and I'm like, oh, I have not been really in a place of gratitude and appreciation lately. Like I have not been really grateful for what's showing up. I have not been appreciating it. There has been a level of like resistance, and that's not what's really true for me. So it was like, oh, thank you for showing me that. Thank you for allowing me to see this part of myself that requires a little bit more focus. Yeah.
And I feel we forget that too. And I did a video. I did one on TikTok and one on a couple of weeks ago now, a month ago maybe, about life as a gift. It doesn't matter how you perceive it. Everything that we experience, good, bad, and different, right? The challenges we go through, the good stuff, be grateful for it, because gratitude is the attitude. And when you're grateful, even for the crappy stuff, the universe gives you more to be grateful for. And that's pretty much been I've stumbled at times with gratitude over the years. Okay, Danielle, I'll be honest with you. I've struggled with it at times because of certain things that happened in my life, and I've gotten angry and I've thrown into victimhood and blame mode and all that sort of stuff, instead of seeing beyond that, of the gratitude of, wow, what have I learned from this? Holy crap, what a journey. I'm truly grateful for that. And the mind wants to get angry. It's like, no, step back and be grateful for that. Be grateful for the crappy shit, because you know what? We're growing and evolving through that. And everything is a gift. Everything. Life is a gift. The triggers are a gift, right? It's all a gift. If we get out of our mindset and say, hey, you know what? The universe showed me something here. What is this? What's life teaching me? What am I learning from this experience? Right? Instead of being so berated and ungrateful and angry. So, well, I didn't do what I wanted yesterday. So, stuff you, universe. I'm going to bloody get angry now, which is great, because then you're putting it out your system. It's like the universe just sits in there. Yeah, okay, John. Okay, Seraph. Okay, whatever. Yeah, have your little temper tantrum. We love you. It's all right. It's like, go for it. We see, right? Gratitude. It's everything in life is a gift. You're a gift. You're a gift to me, and you're a gift to everybody. And I'm grateful for you, Daddy. I'm grateful for my experiences. I'm grateful for the last 7 years. I'm grateful for everything I've gone through since I was a child, because it's all helped me to come back to me. And I love my own heart for myself.
It's so beautiful. It just reminds me of what one of my mentors said the very first time that I sat in a session with him, and his expression was, when there's some contrast or there's something that you're perceiving as being a negative, you say, yes, wow, thank you. And I was like, oh, that is so right. It's so simple. Even just saying, yes, wow, thank you, right? Yes, there's another trigger here. There's more distortions. There's more lies. There's more layers. Wow, what am I going to learn? Wow, this is so cool. And thank you for allowing me to see this. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come into more love, more connection, more of my soul's truth and my essence and individuality. And I think it's just a beautiful little tool. Like, it's a tool, right? Of yes, wow, thank you. Awesome. Okay, cool. I've got this. And it can just shift your energy and your mind very, very, very quickly. So I do want to ask you around the information and how you receive, like, and any specific, actually, how do you channel is probably the first question.
How I channel, it's, wow. Okay, look, basically, if I've got a message to send, I just tap in and say, okay, what have you guys got for me? And I just go for it. I just write it out, and that's it. If it's, and I drop in my heart, and I ask the ego to step aside and say, hey, ego, step aside. I've got some work to do. Thank you. And with love and gratitude to the ego part of me, okay? And I just drop in and I channel it through. A lot of my messages that I've channeled over the last 12 months alone, or 2 years, are still relevant, even in this moment today, this year, this solar year, okay? So I drop into my heart and I just channel it through, and it just comes out. And honestly, Danielle, some of the words that I've channeled over the time have blown me away. It's like, where the hell did that come from? I don't even know that word. What the heck? It's like, wow.
Oh my God, I so relate to this. Now, there's a few things there that I do want to point out for the people listening, so that if you feel that you have, I mean, we all have this gift, but there are going to be certain people that are going to find this an easier gift to tap into, and they've maybe already started to feel it, is connecting to the heart asking the ego or your consciousness to step to the side. This is all stuff, this is exactly what I do as well. And allowing the receiving from the higher realms and asking for that message to come through, and the discernment of the heart. And your body will tell you if you're receiving something that is not of love and light. I think both of us have already spoken about the intention is we only receive from the highest multidimensional layers of love and light. And so when you have that intention, you're already repelled. You've already said, I am not receiving anything else. And so there's nothing can come through. So that's really important. But the other part is the wow factor of when you receive. One of the words that I first channeled was ineffable. And I was like, what is ineffable? You know,
what?
Right. I was like, I've never heard of this word. And I wrote it out I couldn't quite get the spelling, and I was very new at channeling. So it took a lot of time when I started. Yeah. And I was, to write a page, I would sit there and it would be about over an hour to write a page. Each word was like 30 seconds to a minute of sometimes trying to pull through or allow to come through, not more about it, and just starting to let go of the ego's idea of that and feeling my way through it. Anyway, funny synchronicities of the universe is I listened to something by Esther Hicks later that day. And it was one of the very first videos they did when she had started channeling information, and Jerry, her partner, said, it's an ineffable intelligence. And I was like, Googled it. And ineffable means beyond words and conceptualization.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I never used that.
It's amazing. So this is where I know what I'm receiving. I have not made that up because I didn't even know what that word was. And I've had many different things come into my dictionary like you that I'm like, this is cool. This is amazing. Like to be able to receive such beautiful pieces to gift and to be a difference and help people remember through the written word or the spoken word.
Absolutely. The first one I remember that I can clearly remember was Omniverse. That was the first one I remember coming through. It was like Omniverse. What? I mean, I knew about multiverses, but Omniverse, like, okay, what the hell? I'm just going to go with that. And I Googled it and it's like, right, that's the innate oneness, knowing within yourself the innate oneness of everything, not just here, beyond. That blew me away. That was the first word I ever got through.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything specifically that you have received for collective, a theme at the moment, something that's really important to share with the people listening?
Well, to be honest, look, there's a lot of challenges going to be confronting us this year, okay, the next couple of years, okay, and I want them to know that as long as they stand in their power, the biggest theme right now is for people to reclaim their power, okay, Danielle, to reclaim their power, take their power back, and stop handing it over to those who seek to feed fear onto us, who seek to control us and manipulate us through their fear programs, right? I want everyone out there to know there is nothing to fear. I want them to know that they are powerful creationary beings here of love, that there is nothing to fear. That as long as you're sitting in your heart space and you are making directions to take control of your life and not allow somebody else to say, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Oh, and you must be fair. You must listen to us because we know what is best for you. With all due respects, bullshit. We know what's best for us. Reclaim your power, guys. Reclaim it, reclaim it, reclaim it. Recall all your energy back, all your soul fragments for any energy you've given out to others over the time, and sit in the wholeness of you, because you are the universe in totality, right? Yes, we're going to have experiences. Yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be a massive phenomenal earth shifts across the planet, and as we experience this. But a lot of people are going to be reaching out to us, Danielle, over the time, and they're going to want guidance and assistance. It's where we need to reclaim our power, stand tall and within ourselves. Say, hey, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to get through this. But reclaim your power back for you. Stop handing it over to your partner, to your friend, to your family, because they don't know. You have all the answers within you. All of us have the answers within us.
Yes. Oh my God, so much yes. This I am seeing, and this is what I'm witnessing in the collective, and I'm witnessing it in the bringers of change, how much this owning your power, coming into your power, the strength of that for people like you and I that are in this space within our own journey to lead by example in this space. And the message that I got right before this podcast started was allow yourself to be in your power and shine your light or something. And it was like, right, this is coming up again. And I know in my journey, this has been huge for me in the last few months of stepping into my power, stepping into my power, stepping into my power, letting go of anywhere that I've handed it over. And not only where I've handed it over in my human sort of experience and my trauma, but also where I haven't allowed it from, I guess, the higher multidimensional parts of myself as well in this physical of, and for you, I think you'll resonate with some of this. Is for me, what's come up is the fear of, if I bring in the potency and power that I know I have, who the fuck human being walks around like that? Like, I'm already weird, and I don't even know what that looks like in this reality. It's like, okay, that's a lot. That's like, I don't know. How can I actually embody this? And
I actually relate to that, Danielle. Seriously, I really do. And just on a side note, I just want to say to you this morning, and it's funny that I put this up. It's you and I must be so tuned in. I just put a post up this morning with a blog about that. I said, do not shrink your life for anyone to fit into their perspective or whatever it was post. You know the one. I think you may have seen it before. Don't shrink your life for anyone to fit into what they want you to be or something, right? It's just, I find that hilarious actually this morning that I've actually put that up just before I went on this podcast with you. It's like, okay, now you've mentioned that. Okay, all right, that's bizarre. We're really tapped in, her and I. Wow. So yes, I have experienced that. And who does that? Who walks around like that? But what it is coming from a humble state of pure love, of showing your power. It's not from an egoic way saying, oh, I'm so better than you. Oh yeah, look at me. No, it's coming from a humble state, but a powerful state of love. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's really important, because that's a part of my fear story. And I feel many people that listen to this will have this like superiority complex, but also if I embody all of the power that I feel within me, then what if I do it and use it for the wrong things? And this is where the mind, can distort your reality depending on your beliefs. But if you're coming from your heart, the power comes through your heart. It's the power of love. It's the power of connection. And so there's no possible way that you will use your power for the ill will of anything.
No, that's
Because
right.
you're so connected to the creator and to being here. So the fear is just a complete distorted view to keep you in a level of suppression. So
Yeah.
I felt like that was really important to share for people that might be journeying this along with us.
Absolutely.
And
It's very important, Danielle, because that's the thing. It's about keeping the ego mind in check too, like you said, with the superiority, right? Because it's not about one. It's not about I'm better than anyone. It's not about, oh, I have to be the glory bird here. It's about being humble and saying, you know what, this is about everyone. I'm no better than anyone. I'm not superior to anyone else, but I am here to show the way. It's way, show, starseed, light, work. What do you want to call it? Labels, right? Doesn't matter. And connecting with others like yourself to show the way in unity, not superiority.
yeah, and it's beautiful. And bringing these connections and these co-creations and the, right? And I know, and the people that are watching will hopefully now see this perspective too. You know when someone's coming from their heart, because competition then is no longer a thing. What happens? Yeah, what happens is, I see the light in you. How can I support you? Come jump on my podcast. This will be amazing to get you and me and this energy to help others and ourselves. And
Yeah.
so when you're truly in alignment with creator, there's no competition, there's only co-creation and
Yes.
and love.
I love that. Thank you, Danielle. Yes, we're not here to compete against each other. We're all walking each other home. Oh my God, that is, wow. Okay, that's beautiful. Yes, because we are walking each other home. We are co-creating together. It's not a competition. It's who can be better than anyone else. It has never been that. And you know what? I got into that state of competition quite a while ago, and I had to shed that too. Okay, I was trying to compete against everybody else. Well, we're not here to compete. I just wanted to share that vulnerability with everybody. Okay, I have been at that point where I have competed, right? And I'm deeply humbled by the opportunity to be on this today with you too, and I'm truly, truly grateful. Thank you so much. You are a beloved heart, and I see the light in you so greatly. It's insane. My mind's just like, what is going on here? And it's like, man, just accept it. It's okay. You know, she's a being of the light. You know, it's all cool. Don't stress it, man. It's all good, you know. So I want people to understand that. So yeah, when it's not a competition, guys, we're all walking each other home.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. To wrap it up, how can people support your work? How can people support your journey? How can they connect in? Where will they find you? What are your social media platforms, websites, and offerings?
Okay. I'm on Facebook. I have a business page, Awaken to Your Heart, but they can also find me on my timeline, which is where most of the work was done, Seraph Knight, Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm also on YouTube as well, Awaken to Your Heart on YouTube. If they want to support my work, just send me a donation through PayPal, Awaken to Your Heart through PayPal. That's the best way they can support me, just at their own will. I don't expect it, but you know, there's things I want to do. I want to do public speaking gigs. I want to get around and travel a bit indirectly whilst taking care of my daughter as well that comes and visits. But yeah, it's a huge thing. And co-creating with you as well, Danielle, at times when it all lines up for us to do stuff together too, which is pretty phenomenal as well. Okay. But yeah, that's how they can support me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. So it's pretty much all under Awaken to Your Heart or Seraph Knight. Just type it in, search any of those platforms, and you'll find me. Not a problem. And just if they want to throw a donation, like I said, just PayPal, Awaken to Your Heart, and yeah, just go from there. I'd be
Beautiful.
greatly appreciated and gratitude for any support that I can get to continue to keep doing this journey.
Thank you so much, beautiful soul. And I will make sure that the links to your PayPal and your website for those donations and for that support is there. Thank you for your time, your energy, your presence, your gifts, your activations. And I'm so honored to have you share this beautiful, insightful conversation. I'm feeling, light. I'm feeling nice and light. So thank you for giving me lightness, and hopefully some more lightness and expansion to anyone who receives this.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm in gratitude to you so much. And I'm in gratitude to having you in my life. Thank you so much, beloved heart. You are. You're an angel, and I honor you totally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, if you enjoyed the Finding Union podcast and you're enjoying these activation conversations, please remember to like my YouTube channel, follow on Spotify, and share with other bringers of change, way showers, light workers, and awakening souls that feel they may receive value from this beautiful offering to the collective. Thank you for listening. I love you. And
I love you.
I love you. Goodbye.